Live from the third most famous college in Pittsburgh, Duquesne, it's the afternoon with Anthony Priore. Today we have top 10 facts about Duquesne, Bill Lyons, and Craigslist deals. And now, your favorite redheaded stepchild, Anthony Priore.
Wow. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first ever The Afternoon Show with Anthony Priore. Thank you all so much for being here. We've got a great show for you this afternoon. Duquesne adjunct professor and campus celebrity Bill Lyons will be here. And a little later we'll have a special musical performance, which I believe, and you can correct me on this if I'm wrong, it'll be the first ever live performance in the history of this studio. So if you've got, right? It's awesome. So you guys are going to be a part of history tonight. Speaking of history, did you guys hear about Joe Biden visiting campus last week? Students loved him so much that for the first time in Duquesne meme history, Ken Gormley was not the centerpiece. On the topic of Joe Biden, he and President Trump got into a little Twitter beef last week. Biden claimed of President Trump he would take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him. Trump responded by saying of Joe Biden he would go down fast and hard, crying all the way. This comes days after Melania Trump announced it was an anti-cyberbullying campaign, so clearly Donnie is following along very well. While this fight is still on the table and Biden being so popular here now after visiting, we'd like to start the campaign and have the fight come to campus. Our researchers have discovered the attendance for the event would be greater than the housing lottery last week. We actually have a flyer for the event too. Can we check that out? Do we have a picture of that? Yes, there it is. You'll start seeing that on campus very soon. It'll be in the student union. And I think this should definitely serve as a reminder that these two men fighting clearly proves the point that women are the emotional ones and should not be fit for president. We're really excited to have you all here for this afternoon for the first show. We've got a great one, and now we're going to start Craigslist deals. Thanks again for being with us. If you've made it through the monologue and still watching, we've got a treat for you. The afternoon research team was doing some scavenging on Craigslist for the best deals. As a caring talk show host who knows how much you guys online shop, I thought it would be in your best interest to showcase some of those crazy deals. No need to thank me, I get paid enough, so it doesn't matter. So welcome to Craigslist Deals. First up, we have a 2012 Kia Sorento X. But that's not all. This one, quote, has the soul of a Ferrari, and it's built by a craftsman. I know you all probably aren't skeptical at all, but this is but if you can read the description, it says, why wouldn't you want to replicate the feeling of riding on a majestic dual-horned unicorn? Keep in mind, this was created by an ex-Ferrari F1 engineers who tossed back a few beers, and if there's one thing I know, nothing goes better than cars and drinking. Now, continuing with the car theme, if the previous one didn't convince you, maybe this one will. 1970 Honda N60 Minions style. You know, for whenever they lower the driving age to 5. I hear it's happening soon, though. How ironic, though, that the one reason that you can't see through the windshield are two giant eyes. Moving on. Sometimes you've got to get a head start on Valentine's Day. And this person is going to help you out. It's a heart-shaped potato. Because nothing says I love you like a potato. Hopefully this won't go bad by Valentine's Day 2019. Although it says to contact them and there's no phone number, so somebody out there is clearly upset that they couldn't get their significant other a loved one, a potato 11 months in advance. All right, I know you guys are busy. Sometimes you've got to text and drive, but that's generally frowned upon. It's dangerous. So this person in Austin, Texas has found a solution for you. A vintage artisanal telephone. So I think it's on the bike, so you can text and call or drive, but I think he's missing the point, though, since he took a photo of the phone using the phone he shouldn't be using. So he's devaluing his own product. He's got mad skills, though, since he's clearly pedaling the bike with no hands and taking a picture. It's not blurry either, so if we have room in the media department, can we get him on board? Can we get that guy a scholarship? Finally, if you're stuck in the summer of 2016, this last one is perfect for you. It's a professional Pokemon Go trainer charging $20 an hour. Now, this is a steal. Imagine what the price would have been if the game was still popular. All right, when we come back, we will have a top 10 interesting facts on Duquesne that you don't want to miss, and a segment we're calling Lie Witness News, which is actually cut because no one was lying. We're all telling the truth now. So stick around. It's going to be great. Welcome. Awesome. Lovely audience tonight. Welcome back to This Afternoon. We're very thankful you could be here to celebrate the first episode. We've got a great audience here to help us celebrate that. So let's get back to it. Here are the top 10 interesting facts about Duquesne. Number 10. The Chick-fil-A on campus sources some of the meat found from squirrels caught on AWOC. Number 9. 90% of the school profit is used to maintain President Gormley's mustache. Number 8. The other 10% is used to pay basketball coach Keith Dambrot. Number 7. It's been 41 years since Duquesne appeared in an NCAA March Madness tournament, which is coincidentally... right. Well, it's coincidentally the record attendance for the A.J. Palumbo Center as well, so... Number 6, Duquesne policy on plagiarism was made the day after they ripped off the Detroit Tigers logo. Number 5, Duquesne freshman classes counted after the majority run away from seeing the creepy Jesus statue for the first time. Number 4, the rest of the freshmen just stayed because they got lost in Fisher Hall. Number 3, the Duquesne ring is the 5th most recognizable ring behind the One Ring, the Green Lantern ring, ringworms, and onion rings. Number 2, Duquesne has just announced a new major for students living in the South Side to study alcohol poisoning. Number 1, the major is called Libertine Lifestyle. We'll be right back with Bill Lyons. Stick around. Welcome back to the afternoon. We are joined now by adjunct professor and full-time stud. He's a Duquesne graduate and part-time astronaut, your friend and mine, Bill Lyons. Thanks for joining. Thank you.
Weird introduction
Yeah.
from my student, but okay.
Well, I know you're kind of obligated to be here, but we still appreciate you coming nonetheless. So how are you doing? Thanks for coming on.
I'm doing pretty good. How are you? You look so snazzy with
Oh,
the tie.
thank
I
you.
like the-
You know, just for you.
the pink.
So for those people who aren't as familiar with you as we are, could you give us a little background on what you've done, a little bit about yourself?
Oh, absolutely. I was a Duquesne student here, like the rest of you. You'll all come back eventually, obviously.
Right, we need some good rep after that top 10 list.
Yeah, as a Duquesne student here, I did my bachelor's here. I did my master's. I was a grad student like yourself.
Yeah.
Went through. Yay,
That's-
grad students.
Yeah, they're the best. So what made you decide to become a teacher?
Oh man, well, a lot of things. I mean, I loved instructing whenever I was here, especially when I was a grad student. I got the chance to get in the classroom a little bit. I grew up in a family full of educators, so it's one of those things where I enjoy actually helping people understand what it is that they need to do. So yeah, it's a joy for me.
Right? What a guy. So, do you have a really cool or funny story from out in the field in the professional world? Because generally the most people that are going to be watching this, besides all of our parents, will be students.
Sure.
So who need jobs. Do you have like a cool story from out in the field? What we can expect when we get out there?
There's so many. I mean, it's crazy depending on the field that you get into. I mean, you're going to have different stuff happening to you every day out there. So, like, I worked in news for like 3 years, and I could sit here and tell you a million stories about weird stuff that happens when you work news on a regular basis. Like, one of the first stories I worked on when I left here as a student and like got a news job was them sending me to cover a story about a human skull that a dog had found in the woods.
No way.
Yeah.
Tough to play
So it's
fetch
like
with that.
it's like my first week of like doing news, and they're just like they had done this story about like this dog found a human skull in the woods. And which is like not great, obviously.
It's not
super kind of
not
messed
ideal.
up. So I was like, oh wait, this is a great introduction into the world of news.
Throwing in the fire.
And then like a week later, I was like driving back in the dark, and my news anchor called me up, and he was like, hey, so you remember that human skull they found like a week ago? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, the dog found the jawbone. I need you to go out and get a picture of it.
Oh my.
So I like go out in the middle of the pitch black night to this place that I hadn't been to, that is this house in like the middle of the woods.
Wow.
By myself. And I was just like, well, this is a great like first few weeks of work.
Right.
And I finally like get there with all the cops and everything, and they had taken the jawbone was gone already. The coroner had taken it off, and I was just like, it was my first moment of like working in news broadcasting, where I was just like found myself disappointed that I couldn't get a shot of something gruesome, which is kind of messed up.
Right.
But there was I remember the officer saying to me like, "Oh man, I wish I still had it here for you. In fact, if I still had it here, I'd hold it right up to the camera for you and be like, hey, anybody recognize this person?" You gotta have a real dark sense of humor after a while to work in news broadcasting.
Well, I'd like to think that your career has taken off since.
Yes.
What are you up to now? What's going on?
I don't work in news anymore.
Well, yes.
Not saying all news is like that. There's a lot of feel-good stories too, but you kind of have to have a certain sensibility to work in news for a long time. I did it for like several years, and I was just kind of like, I'm cool with not doing this anymore, and started to like produce other shows and things like that, move into television. But now these days, I actually just like I run my own production company that does video work for small businesses and nonprofits, and teaching and things like that. So
awesome. So, what is there a project specifically you're working on right now?
Yeah, I have a few projects that I'm working on at the moment, but I also I do some regular short film work as well. I actually did some film work when I was a student here at Duquesne that won some awards, and then I do some short film work now out in the world that we've been winning some awards for too.
Oh wow, that's awesome. So I understand you brought a clip with you today.
We have. So so this clip that I brought is actually from a short that we currently just won some awards for the 48-hour film project. If you don't know what this is, there's like this interesting film project competition that happens globally. Pittsburgh is one of the cities that participates in it, but the basic concept is to make a short film from scratch in 48 hours. So you got like, you can't prep anything, you can't, other than having a crew and people, you can't prep anything. So you're doing the film writing, shooting, editing all in 48 hours, which is cool. This is one of our recent clips from a recent film that we did, where we tried to do, it was a horror film, psychological horror film. We were trying to do everything in like a single shot to try and make it really uncomfortable as an experiment. So at this point in the film, we have a character who we're not sure whether or not he's been hallucinating or if these things are actually happening in the scene.
All right.
So there's some, and he's a little like exhausted because of all of this.
All right. Well, let's check it out.
Hello? 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 Hello?
Great stuff. We're multi-talented.
So yeah, it's crazy. We do those on a regular, and you can check us out over at Gaff Tape and a Prayer.
All right, well, everyone here will absolutely be doing that.
There you go.
Awesome. So before you go, we have a little thing we'd like to do with you.
Okay. Shoot.
So you talked about your career in theater, and
Oh, God. Yeah.
the afternoon research team did some digging. They found a couple photos of you performing.
Oh, good. Okay.
Now they're out of context,
Obviously.
so we are hoping that you can put some clarity to them because we were very confused when we first saw them.
Okay. Great. This
So-
is exactly what I
So
hoped
firstly, we have this.
for. Oh! Yeah.
So that orange looks to be in a great deal of trouble.
So
Could you please add some context to
Yes.
this?
So this is actually from that film group I was just talking about. That
Yeah.
does the chart. We actually did a side project that was somebody had come up with the idea for a short about Ebenezer Scrooge after the Christmas Story, but he's now become a ghost hunter.
Oh, okay. Obviously.
And this was actually, I'm just a simple orange salesman.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That was selling oranges on the street, and who's about to be evicted, but Scrooge
awesome.
now is a change of heart because he's a different person.
Well, I really want to buy that orange from you. Okay.
Yes.
This is a good one. This one I personally like.
Oh God. All right.
So I'm assuming that's one of your former students. No, I'm just kidding.
No, that's actually from a play I did about a year ago over at Little Lake Theatre Company. That is a play called Jeeves Intervenes, which
Okay.
is like a British comedy farce. And that was actually also directed by Duquesne
no way.
as well.
Awesome.
So, yeah, this was me saying this gentleman was a college friend of mine in the play who I'm singing our college anthem to his dismay.
Nice.
And yeah, so he's
Awesome.
very upset that I would use that against him.
Okay, last but not least,
Yes.
you seem very distraught.
So, if none of you recognize this is actually in the bottom of Rockwell Hall.
Okay.
There's this weird eagle that's down there, eagle statue,
Okay.
that none of us really understood. That's fairly. There's a lot of words that I could use to describe this eagle, but I can't right now. This gentleman, Eric Matthews, is another Duquesne alum. This is a show we did for the Maskers a few years ago. It was we were having a stare down contest
Clearly.
for some reason. Like in between, like while the show was happening upstairs. This is when the theater used to be down in Rockwell.
So who won? Is the real question here.
We're all winners.
Oh,
in the game of life.
fair enough.
I don't know. It was- yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. You were a great sport. We appreciate you coming on the
Hey,
show.
thank you for
Bill
having
Ryan! We'll be right back with musical guest Judas Soleil. Don't go away!
Very nice.
Well, thank you everybody for being here tonight. Before we send you on your way and you get on with everything else that's going on in your lives, we have a musical performance from Duquesne women's basketball superstar Judith Soleil. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time.